Hi, and so it's later in the day. It's another couch vlog. It's shortly after 5. Um, yeah, earlier this. So yeah, the video from yesterday, football practice, where I pretty much stood around. I didn't, I recorded like 5 minutes of footage, and practice is 2 hours long. So you do the math. Unless you're American, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there. So earlier this week, Luke Kuechly announced his retirement. And that sucks. But I understand why he did, because with the sheer injury status he's had to like his head for concussion stuff, he probably got a warning flag this year from a doctor and said, I'm going to finish out the season. Could have got into week 10 or 12. I don't know. Everybody has their suppositions as to why he stopped. I've even heard some people say that the reason why he said it wasn't, like in his video, he says it wasn't because of the coaching staff. And everyone's like, that's why it was. And I'm like, kind of goes to show you what kind of world we live in when someone tries to tell you, no, I'm not doing this because of that. And they're like, that's exactly what you're doing it. And I'm like, that's a level of projection. You know, for those of you that don't know projection, it's the fact of you blame things when you suppose that like other people are going to do something because you secretly know you would do it. It's weird. But yeah. And so he's retiring. I'll say this, the Panthers defense is not going to be the same, but it made me think yesterday morning, why I didn't go to practice. Well, I went to practice, but I didn't do it practice. Because taking a practice off, having Sunday practice, having a whole week, having probably 2 practices and then a practice game against a German team the next weekend. So, like, I'm looking at a watch that doesn't exist, but like a week from now, I'm going to be leaving to southeastern, near Nijmegen. So, yeah, I got to figure out how to, anyways. So, that will be a weird, like, check mark off my list. I'm in a Romanian team, French team, Belgian team, now a German team. That shouldn't be a, bucket list, but, so, yeah. Anyways, back to the topic. And that we all have to retire or quit football eventually. Now, there's a difference to me between retiring and quitting. If you play for 1 or 2 years and you're a practice hero in like JV, and then you go, oh yeah, well, looks like I want to go do something else, or meh, I don't want to play sports anymore. But you did it because your friend was in it or something, you quit football. You did not retire. If you started at the age of 10, went all the way through college, and then realized that you were not in the prospects of getting into the NFL, but certainly were not a slump on the, I mean, to be fair, not many people are slumps on a bench in most college, but sometimes it happens. Then you retire. And some people retire on their own terms, others don't. And I got to give it out to Luke because watching that video, I know that he probably made the hardest decision of his life. Because he, after a fashion, feels forced into the decision. But, I mean, I don't know if there's what a doctor told him or anything, but when it's sort of like Bono last year. He didn't want to quit playing football, but he got a diagnosis for a spinal disease. So he had to quit. Your body will force you into doing it. You might just get old. You might just have way too many concussions. You might, Frank is back this year. He went through some severe knee surgery. He's got, braces on both knees, and he's not a lineman. He's not a lineman. So there are injuries to come back from, and there are things you cannot come back from. So that's that. I took practice off physically because I want to continue more, and straining a back muscle was not on my top priority list. I broke my collarbone last year because I wasn't necessarily listening to my body, and I brought this up Sunday, but just like as Raytheon said in the most wow in 8.3, he goes, "The old gods took a noble mind and twisted it into what we now call Deathwing, and that ended his life. And as much as I do not want to share that fate, I decided to invest everything into defeating the old gods." It could sound a lot better in my head. I'm not very good with Raytheon's voice. He's so sexy. But that's the thing is, I didn't want to have another flunked out year. So Sunday practice, 2 hours, rest, have Aaron press this thing out a little bit more. If it acts up in practice, it acts up in practice. But I'm so much better today than I was yesterday. And I'm so much better yesterday than I was on Wednesday. So tomorrow I'll be fine. And Sunday I'll have practice. But just remember that life is going to deal you bad hands, and how you deal with it is the measure of who you are.